afternoon, and thank you for joining us for the fourth of our Lunch and Learn.
Oops.
Technical difficulty. Sorry about that. Let's start the music again because I think this started a little late. Here we go. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for the fourth of our Lunch and Learn webinars designed to spark conversations about a variety of residential and commercial zoning topics. This webinar series is a part of Code Create Vienna, the process of updating the town's zoning and subdivision codes. My name is Kelly O'Brien. I am the principal planner for the Town of Vienna's Department of Planning and Zoning. And I'm joined today by planning specialist Jennifer Murphy.
Hello.
Jennifer and I will be co-presenting today, and I will be moderating the question and answer portion at the end. You are welcome to ask the questions through the Q&A feature during the presentation. However, all questions will be held until the end of the presentation. If you're watching this recording after the webinar has ended, please email your questions to codecreate@viennava.gov, and we will be happy to respond. With that, let's talk about working from home. So, Jennifer, I have this great idea, but I don't have enough money yet. I'm just starting out. So I want to start my business at home. What do I need to know?
So what you need to know is you'll need a business license for a home-based business, which requires a certificate of occupancy, what we call a home certificate of occupancy, which is issued out of our office, the Department of Planning and Zoning.
Okay, what's a certificate of occupancy thing you're talking about?
A certificate of occupancy is a document that's issued by a local government agency. Our office issues this one in particular, which certifies compliance with applicable codes and other laws. And basically it tells you what the business or in this instance, the structure is used for.
Okay, but what if I'm just working from home from my employer? Do I still need to get that?
If you're just using your home for home office, but you're still working for your employer, then no business license is necessary. It's when you decide to open your own business, when you decide to open your own business, that's when you need the business license and the occupancy permit.
What if I'm doing a business outside, like I'm a contractor and I go out and do things, but it's just my mail coming to my house? Do I still need this?
Yes. So we consider that's considered to be your home-based operation. Mail's coming to your house for the purpose of the business. You're likely making phone calls, emails, or being sent out of using that home address. So that would require a business license and a certificate of occupancy.
So this is the fun part for everybody. We're going to ask you to put your thinking caps on and answer a question for us. So I'm going to start a poll, and this should show up on your screen. What is the most applied for home business in Vienna? So pick your top one: daycare, pet sitting, online sales, instructions or tutoring, having people come, or you're teaching them, play music. Real estate, consulting, or food preparation. And just for fun, I'm going to play our thinking music. All right, we're done thinking. I got 6 more. I'm going to give it 2 more seconds and close it. We'll have a full minute to give everyone time to vote.
Okay.
And we're going to end the polling. So I'm going to share the results, and we got some smart participants. They know it. So consulting is our number one most replied for applications
Mm-hmm.
for home businesses. But we're going to get a little bit more into that in the next slide.
Mm-hmm. There it is. So you can see 38% here is consulting out of all of our home-based businesses. And this is just a broad summary of the types of applications that we generally receive. Let's take a look here. With 38% for home consulting. And there's, it's hard to read some of the little ones in there, but you can see that, and they're basically mostly home offices.
Yeah, so the second is online
Mm-hmm.
sales, that's 6%.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Contractors is at 5%.
Mm-hmm.
General home office. And now I will say that this is kind of a very broad summarization of
Mm-hmm.
the applications we've received in the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But I know there's one thing that's important to note about the
Consulting.
consulting.
Yeah.
When we're
Oh,
applying for a business and we just say we're consulting.
yeah, no, thank you. It's a good point. So what we like is a good business description when you're making application, and let us know. Consulting can be very broad. So if you could just be specific about the type of consulting that you're doing, so we can verify the business use.
Okay, so I realize I need a home CO. What do you need? What information do you need from me?
Well, first of all, we like to get your address just to make sure you are in fact in the town. Sometimes we do get calls from outside of town, from outside of town. The type of business that you're proposing, the area of your home that you intend to use the business, and parking. And not often, but in some instances, we need to know what your on-site parking is.
How do I get that information to you?
Well, we need you to reach out to the business license first, meet with them, make sure that you're following their steps for making application for your business license. And typically they hold the business license until you complete the process with our office for occupancy. And for making application for occupancy, you just go to the website that's shown there, our IDT plan site, or moved all of our applications onto the IDT site. And with that, we'll need the applicant authorization form and the certificate of occupancy restrictions acknowledgement form.
And who do I talk to in business licenses?
Miss Elizabeth King, she's our business license officer, and you can see her contact information here.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned restrictions. So what are the restrictions on home businesses?
Let's see here. So this is the list of the code restrictions that we follow when we review for home occupancy. As you can see, there's a list of them here. Basically, we're verifying that it's entirely operated within the single family dwelling unit, and that only the residents that reside in the dwelling are operating the business. There's no external evidence, and that you don't exceed more than 25% of the gross livable floor area for the business.
Well, so gross livable floor area. So are you saying like I can use only like a half of my basement if I have 2 floors, or if, I do baking here, but I work in my office over there?
Yeah, so we like to, well, we're not going to come to your house and measure. Let's just be clear about that. We're not going to measure each room of your house, but we will verify with Fairfax County records, the rough square footage that you have available in the house, and that you're not exceeding more than 25% of that. I know it can be a little daunting when you're trying to figure out the exact area that you're using your office space. It's usually bigger than your kitchen table. It's the size of the room that you're in. That's what we want to verify. But that's generally how we review the 25%.
Okay, and then this no external evidence. So
Yeah.
I can't have any signs, or how do people know to come to my home for a business?
Well, you can have a 1.5 square foot sign at the house. We don't generally see very many of those. Really, the purpose is for something internal to the home. The business should not take over the use of the home. And when you say no external evidence, that falls into the type of businesses that maybe have storage or materials that may need to be delivered. We just want to make sure that we're not seeing that for a home-based business.
And I see here that I can't have any other employees other than like my husband or my daughter or somebody that has to be living with me.
Correct. So immediate family that resides in the home. So you can't have outside employees coming and going from the residence.
And I see that letter E is one of our examples of why we have the code update happening now.
Yes. Yes.
Internal combustion engine and horsepower and fractional horsepower electric motors.
Yeah.
Generally good regulations here, but there's some that need a little tweaking and updating. So
yes.
That's an example I would say of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we continue.
Yes, so to continue on here, we verify that, and again, some old language that does not involve any emission, any sound, odor, smoke beyond the property. That would be negative effects for the neighbors. No commodity or good can be sold on the premises. Any customers or clients are by appointment only. Want to make sure that it doesn't constitute a nuisance due to sidewalk or street traffic. It doesn't adversely affect the development of the neighborhood, adjoining neighbors, and that the equipment or merchandise is stored inside the principal residential structure, as we discussed before. That ties in with no external evidence. And lastly, deliveries can only occur between the hours of 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. That's kind of interesting. We don't see a lot of deliveries, and that also ties back in with making sure that you're not adversely affecting the neighborhood. And things like that, we would normally be contacted by neighbors, and not very often. In some instances, a neighbor will contact us to say, there's a lot of foot traffic or deliveries, can you check this out? And that's when we would follow up to see what's happening with the business.
Now, when you say no commodities sold on the premises, so if I'm selling something online and shipping it to somebody,
that's fine.
That's okay.
That's
but they
fine.
Can't come.
Right. Right. I can't come to your home to purchase a product, and you would have to provide the sale at another location. And oftentimes we see it at farmers markets or other craft events. That's where those sales are occurring.
So even if they come by appointment, they still can't purchase things.
Correct.
All right. What is all this going to cost me?
Well, it's a one-time application fee of $100 it's good for one business and good for the life of the business at that location. And it's worth noting, you can have multiple businesses in your home. You would just have to make application for your business license and your occupancy permit as well for those other businesses.
So each business has that fee.
Correct. Yes.
Now, going back to the 25%, if I have multiple businesses, does each business get 25%, or is it all businesses, or how does that?
We would review each application to make sure it wasn't exceeding 25% of the business.
Of the total house. So the
total house. Yes.
Can't be more than 25%.
Correct. Yes.
All right. And then finance, but the business license, I guess I have to go to them.
Yes, and as it's noted here, that you would need to check with the Department of Finance to verify all their licensing fees.
So what if I'm doing something like baking baked goods? Is there anything else that I need to know, or?
Yes, in some instances, I think I was contacted about baked goods. One person wanted to make lip balm. Sometimes you get these certain businesses that will require additional state or federal agency approval. Usually we're the first step in that approval process, just making sure it meets the zoning, and then they follow up with the state or federal agency to make sure that they're meeting their requirements. And some of those websites are listed here.
So this is an exhaustive list. This is just the ones that we
more
often
hear
about.
Mm-hmm.
So are there any other types of, I've heard about these things called a conditional use permit. What
Yes.
is that something I might need or?
Probably not. It really depends. It's only in the instance of, as it says here, institutional homes, certified massage therapists, or nursery or kindergarten schools, which falls under daycare.
So if I was going to do a daycare, I would need a CUP.
Well, that also depends. It depends on how many children that you're watching. So as it says here, if you're caring for less than 4 or fewer children, then you can just apply for a home certificate of occupancy and then work with Fairfax County's Office for Children. But if you want to care for 5 to 12 children, you couldn't have more than 12 children. You can make application for a conditional use permit, and that's an additional review process that you would work with staff on.
So over 12 children, that would probably be considered the nursery or kindergarten or a little bit more than just a home
Yes.
care.
Yes. We have a few of those here in town, but those I believe were approved many years ago, and they do operate on a conditional use permit as well.
All right, so this is all great information. How do I get it to you?
Okay, so when you're ready to apply, we ask that you go to our brand new IDT plans page as it's shown here. The link is shown at the bottom. And when you're ready to apply, you'll need to register first and get your login set up. When you do have that, you'll go to the bottom left-hand corner to begin the process. Yeah.
Now, and very important to note for everybody, one of the great things about IDT is you can apply at any time.
Yes.
At 11 o'clock at night, you're like, I meant to apply for my business permit.
Yeah.
My certificate of occupancy.
Yes.
You don't have to wait for us to be open. You can go online at any time.
And it's also worth mentioning, staff is available to answer any questions that you have. So if you find that you're trying to log in and it's just not looking right to you, or you're a little uncertain, please give us a call. We're happy to walk you through the steps and assist you.
Well, excellent. I am going to open it up for questions and answers and stop sharing my screen for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
So do we have any questions? None in the chat right now. If anyone online has a question that they would like to ask, or if you are a phone participant, and maybe you have a comment or question that comes up later, you can always email us at viennava.gov, codecreate@viennava.gov, and we're happy to answer any questions that you have. Still not seeing any questions and answers yet. Is there anything else? Any other random things that have come up for home COs that are important to share with everybody?
I just got a question the other day. Sorry, there's a little echo, but an applicant wanted to apply for home occupancy well, we didn't get into the home business, but she wasn't able to get approval from her landlord. And unfortunately, if you don't have that approval, then we can't process your application. So it's really important that you have the approvals in place.
And back to that slide, we mentioned the applicant authorization form. Even if you are the homeowner, you still have to submit that form.
Yes.
So all forms, everything we do, we protect the property owner's rights and make sure that the property owner is aware of what is being applied for. So
yes, even though it's a hassle for the property owner. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was going to say, oftentimes we hear from people, it's a hassle from the property owner, but it's really in their best interest to protect them.
It's a quick signature just to make sure that everyone is on the up and up and that everyone's aware of what's going on. So we're protecting your rights as well as everyone else's.
Yes.
Does that have to be an original signature or can it be a scan? Sorry, chime in with a question.
It can be yes, it can be a scan signature.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me bring up, just while we're waiting, if anyone else has a question that comes up. There we go, share. So I just want to take a moment to plug our next Lunch and Learn. 2 Fridays from now, we'll have Table for Two, a discussion on outdoor dining. So this will get into a little bit about what the steps are for a restaurant to be approved to offer outdoor dining for their customers, how that has changed during the pandemic, and then what processes should we have? As you mentioned, we've been updating our code. We're updating the code now. We're in the process of it. And we want to hear, if the process we have now, is it working? Is it not? What is, what isn't? What the community wants to see going forward as it pertains to outdoor dining. And then even more exciting, as we're getting into 2021, we'll have more lunch and learns coming. We're always open to suggestions. If you have a topic that you've always wanted to know more about, that burning zoning question, we'd love to hear from you. And we'd be happy to put together a quick lunch and learn to make sure that everyone is aware of what we do and how that affects what you do. So that's the whole point of this series, is to make sure that everyone has a better understanding of zoning and how it affects your daily life and how we can improve that with this code update. So as always, a huge plug for the website, codecreatevienna.com. Anything and everything you need to know about the update will be on that project website, and you can always email us as well. And I'm still not seeing any questions, so I think that's we just did so perfectly, and you answered
everything.
Yeah, I mean, you answered everything so well that you just left them all stunned in silence.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes, but we welcome all questions, and please, stay involved. There are no simple questions. There are no dumb questions. We're happy to answer anything that you have always wanted to know about zoning, or what you're unclear about.
Yeah, if they think of something later on, they can respond. Yeah.
And as Jennifer said, if you're trying to start a home business, you can always call the office.
Yes.
Our email, dpz@viennava.gov, is our general email that's more specific to applications, and staff will get back to you that way. And I'll make a last minute plug as well. We have a walk or bike and tell field notes guide that if you're getting out of the house trying to get some exercise, grab one of those guides and jot some notes down as what you think about as you're walking around. You're like, oh, I really wish this was here, and we want to hear from you. You're living and breathing zoning every day. You don't even realize it. So we would love to hear from you. And you can pick those up at Town Hall, the Community Center, Cafe Amore, or Simply Social. And a big thank you to Cafe Amore and Simply Social for agreeing to help us out with this to make it more accessible for everybody. So with that, I guess this is going to be one of our quicker ones. But thank you, Jennifer. I really appreciated having this chat with you.
Thank you.
And we will see the rest of you soon. Have a great day.